2, 1. Good evening, Los Angeles. My name's Zuma Dogg, live from Venice Beach, California at the humanawareness.training.com blogging studios. And thank you so much for tuning in. I have a lot of what I hope is going to be magical, uplifting, transformational material, not to set the bar too high, but we have a lot to discuss today. I know that people tune to my blog for city activism, and it's impossible to walk away from that because we have the city of LA in meltdown crisis mode, and it's impossible to ignore that. It's all over the news headlines, on TV, on the radio, and on the tops of everybody's minds and tips of everybody's tongue. So I thought today, on a day when we have had the DWP rate increase officially be bestowed and bamboozled upon us, that I will use some of these NLP Tony Robbins type, what I am now calling human awareness training techniques, to help you mitigate the feelings you may be experiencing that may be causing you to fluctuate your emotional state, that may be causing you to do things like over-medicate, overly alcohol drink, maybe eat an entire Haagen-Dazs carton, order a whole Domino's pizza and eat it, or just do something nutty that's going to cause you to lose focus and prevent you from achieving your utmost potential. So I know you like when I'm the angry guy screaming and pointing fingers about council, but let me tell you how I feel about it, people. I feel that after 4 years of me showing up every day to the council meetings to warn that, hey, for example, if I was showing up to say, hey, you got faulty electrical wiring in a building, the building's going to catch on fire. Hey, 1 year of, hey, faulty wiring, building's going to catch on fire. 2 years, faulty wiring. 3 years, faulty wiring. 4 years, hey, the building's going to catch on fire. Well, the way I see it, the building's caught on fire. So no need for me to sit there and say, hey, the building's going to catch on fire. At this point, it's how to extinguish that fire. In this case, how you can control your emotional states and continue to feel good and use this energy to help motivate you to achieve higher levels of your personal best, and I'm here to help unleash that. And again, I don't want to take credit for this material. I did take the time, and I do take credit for taking the time to absorb this material basically in the late 80s, early 90s through people like Dr. W. Edwards Deming, Al Reese, Jack Trout, Anthony Robbins, Richard Bandler, NLP, Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson, throw in some Shakti Gawain, plus M. Scott Peck and many others. Well, I did take the time. I became very interested in trying to strive for higher levels of achievement and awareness. I found that there's comfort through awareness, and when I was living in New York City, I had the benefit of attending Learning Annex seminars where, again, people like Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson, M. Scott Peck, Richard Bandler, NLP, these were the people that I was spending time in the room with them, in-person training, then watching videos, audio tapes, reading, and practicing it in rooms with groups of people. And so it's been very good for me because although I've had my ups and downs like everybody, since I've started to absorb this material and just simply listen to it, it did unleash a certain creativity in me that I never had before, an outgoingness and improv ability. And I was practicing that through things like, well, first in my radio career that I ended up in New York City in Times Square in the 40th floor in a skyscraper, and, you know, taking limos, red carpets, going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, having appetizers with Springsteen, having dinner with Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley of Kiss, you know, cocktails with Mariah Carey. You know, this was the crowd. These were the things I was doing. And so I started to get into this material at that point. And obviously it seemed to work for me because I was out of work in between jobs at a time. I started to take this material in, like many people have time on their hands, and if you started to listen, well, it seemed to work for me because shortly thereafter I was able to use the skills I learned in my NLP and Tony Robbins. When there was a job opening at a radio station in New York City, it allowed me to communicate effectively with the person doing the interview. I noticed when things weren't quite going that well. I noticed some things that clicked, and I changed my communication and geared it toward the way they would more easily accept it. It worked. I ended up in New York City in my dream job, so that's when I took in more of this material. So after using it in my radio career, I then aimed it toward my creative flair as Zuma Dogg in my comedy, improv, entertaining, singing, dancing TV show that had no activism, just to make people feel good and to prove that I could put a show that would be compelling to people. And so I used my skills from NLP and Tony Robbins for that, because I guarantee you, before my Tony Robbins seminar event that I went to, I was very much a fly in the wall, very inward, never outgoing. I wouldn't be singing and dancing and showing up on TV and doing all that. And to prove that, when I was in radio, I was in the programming side, off the microphone, behind the scenes in the boiler room. I didn't want to go on camera. I didn't want to have my picture taken. I didn't want to be out in front of the crowd. So it's only through the fact that I was having my material as a writer ripped off and copied and duplicated without my involvement. I was having my ideas stolen, and so I said, well, gee, if I create this character Zuma Dogg and deliver the material myself, well, there's no way you can rip off me and my delivery. So I used this creatively to unleash Zuma Dogg. Thank you to Tony Robbins, who unleashed that in me at his seminar that I'll get into later. And then when I became a political activist, people felt I was a good public speaker at the podium, speaking truth to power on TV with a lot of people watching in a big environment, and I just walked in off the street and did it. And then I was able to create a lot of attention and capture attention, which brought attention to the issues I was discussing. So I blew activism wide open, because as people were watching the fun Zuma Dogg deliver his message in a fun, entertaining way, well, they started to become aware, and the floodgates opened, and I brought in a whole new audience to activism, especially young people and people that weren't paying attention in the channel surf. They'd see Zuma Dogg. Before you know it, they'd know what was going on. So all of this NLP, Tony Robbins stuff's been very good to me, and I've used it in my life creatively. And again, it's helped unleash my creativity, and people know that I can blog and write a lot and, improv and speak and create videos and be very creative and productive. And I'm here to say again, it used to be a struggle for me. I used to have to fight to write and just get the right perfect moment, and then boom, it's unleashed, and I can do it at all times, and I never have to even turn it on, because it's always on. And when I say that, you yourself have the exact same ability within you at the subconscious level. And so when you hear me tell these stories, basically good NLP or the Tony Robbins conditioning, whatever I call it, human awareness training, is through the telling of the stories. And this video itself, it does unleash it within you simply by listening, because we all have the same subconscious mind, and the key to unleashing your higher levels of awareness is to have your conscious mind incongruous with your subconscious mind. And that's what happens when you listen to the material that is being very strategically programmed on this blog for you. So if you're an activist, you should say, gee, this is my favorite stuff ever, because it's helping you as an activist become a more effective communicator, which you will be able to communicate with others to help activate them towards your goal that you're trying to achieve. And not only that, but the material will help unleash your highest levels of awareness. It will spiritually uplift you, and it will focus your mind in the proper direction so that your body will easily and effortlessly at the subconscious level direct you to take the proper actions that will have you achieving much more each day. And so that is my promise to you here at the humanawarennesstraining.com blog. And for those of you, again, who say, gee, I want you to be the screaming, crazy, mad guy, I feel the time is now for this type of material. And I like to go back to the point when I made the transition from a comedian, improv, blissfully ignorant, light, silly-hearted guy doing the comedy Zuma Dogg show. Well, if you would have said I'd be discussing municipalities and pensions and bonds and rent escrow and LAUSD and, all of this stuff at the political level, well, people would have said, what? And I'm sure when I did start, a lot of people said, oh my gosh, this is not the Zuma Dogg I thought. But, I went back to Malibu in the spring a couple months ago after not being there for a few years, as I was entrenched in the activism day to day, and I wasn't doing the same old thing in Malibu that I was. And I did go back, and some of the people, they saw me and they just really patted me on the back. It's like, damn, Zuma, boy, I thought you were funny and you really entertained me. I didn't know you had it in you like that. And the level of respect they had for me, they're like, I said, yeah, but you know what? At the time I was homeless. I say, great. So you know what? You have respect, and I do all of this, but at the end of the day, I'm homeless. I'm sleeping in my car. And they said to me, you know what, bro? For all the people here with all their millions in their mansions, it's like you really own the key to the city, and you really do have it all. You just don't realize it. And those people with all the money, that are striving for all the power and trying to achieve their dreams and goals, well, they're the most screwed up, and they wish they had what I had. So you know what? That really went a long way to inspire and to keep me hanging on, and it gave me faith, because we've talked about the power of belief, and everything that we talked about on this blog, and anything to help you achieve a higher level of awareness and to trigger you to take the actions and to achieve more in life at any level. Well, of course, the first thing is belief, and we've all heard that before, so I won't discuss it, but then you have to have faith, and that's something that is tougher to maintain and easier to lose, but at all times you do have it, and so you need to maintain it, because it doesn't always happen as a scientific process. For example, when you need a miracle, it's not like putting $1 in the vending machine and pressing a button. But if you do focus your thoughts and take the actions each day toward positive improvement with your time, I am here to basically guarantee, as much as metaphysically possible, that you will be rewarded through the universe for those actions if it's congruent and you're doing it with passion every day a little bit. So I've already spoken more about that, but here's something else for people. Let's say, for example, you're trying to let's say you're trying to lose weight, for example, because you're overweight and need to lose weight. Or let's say you're already where you need to be. You want to be a bodybuilder and have more nutrition at a bodybuilder level. Well, one thing you can do tomorrow when you wake up, and you're going to have to get them first, but I have found that Librata, something that has helped my nutrition, I have become more energetic. My body is reacting better to exercise now. I'm seeing much more results than I've ever seen in my life, in my 20s or 30s or ever. I've never been able to produce more results through exercise and see them and feel them and have more energy with the least amount of effort, and I haven't done it through going to the gym at all. So I'm here to say, before I get into the strategic exercises and things you can do, nutrition is fundamental to mind and body, which then spirit, because I'm here to say that, I listened to Chris Prentice from Passages Malibu. You've heard of that recovery center, and he seems to think that the biochemical reaction is the first thing they do is check nutrition, things like your amino acids and that type of thing. And for those of you that need to lose weight because you're overweight in the unhealthy way, well, I still want to make sure that you're feeling satisfied in your dieting and still getting all the nutrition, because that's key. So one thing I found that could immediately benefit you through your nutrition and diet, whether you need to lose weight because you're unhealthy or because you need to bulk up because you're exercising, the nutrition is key, and on a diet you don't get the proper nutrition sometimes. So that's why I'm here to say Librata has a product called Lean Body Breakfast. Make sure it's the breakfast packet. They have them if you go to Vitamin Barn. GNC doesn't have them, but look them up online. Make sure you find them. I found them to be quite beneficial. And I know that that's not yelling about Eric Garcetti, but what more could you want as an activist to feel better yourself? And I'm here to try to help with that. Now let's talk a little bit about something very funny at City Hall today, because we talk about NLP and using your words strategically, and about leadership and taking action and having courage and these types of things. And, Eric Garcetti, my leader nemesis, boy, he certainly topped himself today when it comes to this NLP stuff, what I'm calling human awareness training. He certainly gave us a prime example of something to talk about on this blog today. That's right, so it was the DWP rate increase for some non-existent plan of greening things through solar panels for some political reason to cover a bunch of spilt milk of the DWP in city. So anyway, Eric Garcetti stood up today. Now, City Council, they did have the power to prevent DWP from making this rate hike. Unfortunately, Bernard Parks, it got approved by one vote. The ability to take over jurisdiction of the DWP rate increase, council could have done it and prevented it. Well, it made it through by one vote. So first of all, how funny, Bernard Parks, council member Parks, was not at the council meeting today. It's like, he's the one, he would have been the no vote that would have prevented it. So it's like, I think we should all pitch in and buy Bernard Parks some new instructions to City Hall because he didn't make it today, and then the rate hike ended up going through, and he could have been the no vote. But who really takes the non-leadership, I think the mayor might have put some spike strips on the road Bernard Parks drives down to get to City Hall, and I think what happened was that he got a flat tire on the way to City Hall, and that's how come he wasn't there to vote no, which would have prevented the mayor's DWP rate increase. But with all seriousness, I'm here to say that Eric Garcetti takes the non-leadership cake today when he stood up and said, yes, I wanted transparency, a plan, more accountability, and a ratepayer advocate. But day number one, eliminate the word but. Because when you use that, especially when you're a shady politician, it says to the people, oh, well, here it comes. Time to bend over. So to repeat, if you're going to the people and you're jamming through a shady, non-accountable, no transparency, no plan, no ratepayer advocate rate increase, don't get up there and say, hi, I'm Eric Garcetti, and I wanted transparency, accountability, a plan, and a ratepayer advocate, but the but is it's going through anyway, people. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about, let's see, I had a note here. Yes, let's talk about the Tony Robbins Firewalk, because since I've been doing this human awareness training, I did get a call today from somebody who said they were listening to the radio and they heard about a webinar for a sales seminar type of thing on the web. I like that term, webinar, and they used the Tony Robbins name in it. And he said that, use these techniques and you'll double your business. So, I looked into it and I talked to the guy, and he's like, well, I didn't talk to the guy, but the person who called told me he called the person selling the seminar and said, oh yeah, he said he went to, hey Zuma Dogg, you know about Tony Robbins. Do you know about this Tony Robbins Firewalk and what that's all about? Yeah, sure, why? Because the guy I talked to about this webinar, he said he did the Firewalk for Tony Robbins 17 times. It's like, well, first of all, let me start by saying, if you did the Firewalk 17 times, that means you need to do it 18 times because you missed the point entirely. The point is of the Firewalk, people. The Tony Robbins seminar, which by the way is coming to the Long Beach area on July 31st July 29th through August 1st. Excuse me, you hear about the Firewalk, and it's a lot of controversy surrounding that. And I've done this Firewalk, yes, several times, but you don't hear me walking around saying, oh, I did the Firewalk several times. I did it for several times just because after the first time I was there anyway, it felt like doing it anyway, y'all. But to say is a selling point, yes, you should buy my program. I did the Tony Robbins Firewalk 17 times. Well, again, then you need to do it 18 times because you're supposed to get the point on the first time. So what's the point of the Firewalk, Uncle MC Zuma Dogg? Is it to help me in case I need to walk out of a burning room? No, people. The purpose of the Firewalk is not to give you a skill to walk out of a burning room. It's to prove to you that limiting beliefs prevent you from trying things in life that you easily could be achieving. That's the quick version. Now to back up a bit, I talked to my friend today and I said, gee, well, tell me, you don't think you could do the Firewalk, right? He's like, no. I go, yeah, because only people in Africa can do it because the kids start when they're young on warm coals and then practice until they can walk on hot coals when they're older, and people's skin's different in Africa that can do this type of thing, right? He's like, exactly. It's like, no. The point of the Firewalk is to teach you if anybody can achieve a goal like that, then anybody can. It's a matter of managing your state. And first you have to have the belief, because you don't think you can do a Firewalk before you do it. You think, gee, if I do the Firewalk, my feet will burn. So, first of all, by realizing that anybody could do it that's a human and we're all made of the same thing, well, that means any of us can do it. So again, first you have to have the belief you can do it. And then you have to have the strategy. You have to put yourself in the proper state. Because if you try walking across the hot coals, like Snuffleupagus, all depressed and tired and lethargic with no energy or no passion or commitment, with non-congruence, well, then your feet might burn. So again, it's like, do not try this if you're not skilled. So it's easy to get that skill. You just have to put yourself in the proper state. And what is that state? Well, it's a peak state. Do you think when you walk across the hot coals, you look down at the burning hot coals and stare at them? Or do you think you look up and don't look at the coals? You obviously look up. So that's one little thing. So anyway, the point is that you didn't think you could walk across hot coals because of limiting beliefs. And then once you have the belief and learn the strategy to put yourself in the state, you can walk across the hot coals. And once you do, you say, well, damn, if I didn't walk across hot coals or didn't think I could because of limiting beliefs, false ones I might add, false limiting beliefs, well then think of all the other things I can easily achieve if I only had the belief. And I'm here to say that people are capable of much more than they give their own minds credit for. And part of that is because you become so conditioned negatively through the media, through the TV, through the radio, through everything, through society. Okay, so that's why I have created this blog, humanawarenesstraining.com, to provide a space where you can come, and I promise you, if you just simply read the content already posted, go through the hat tweet column, and watch the videos, you will notice when you wake up, and even immediately, that you will feel more spiritually uplifted. You'll feel better. You'll notice you're starting to communicate better because you're going to be in a better frame of mind, because this material is strategically focused. And again, it's not about my presentation of it. If you took the transcripts of what's being said here on these videos I'm presenting to you and simply read them yourself out loud to people, you would produce the same result. Now, I do have a lot of time and years invested, and I'm good at public speaking and improv to begin with, so you might not want to take it to that level, so you don't have to. That's what this is for. But a lot of the NLP training videos and websites and all the things you see that I like to absorb on the internet, well, a lot of it is about the program. It's either trying to sell you on the program and tell you about it, but not give you the actual insightful clips, the actual going into the seminar to hear what it's really like. So I've scanned the net to find some of the clips from the top people, Tony Robbins, Richard Bandler, and you can see what it's really like to be in the room to demystify what these programs are about. And when you see infomercials on TV, you know, they're either, again, trying to sell you the content, or if you watch some of these web infomercials, they're trying to sell you on the program, or if you're watching some of the videos, they're trying to teach you and train you the process and the NLPs and some of these Tony Robbins things. Well, they're trying to teach you how to do it, and not everybody wants to do that. But I'm here to say, when you watch these videos, when they're teaching the process, you don't have to learn the process, because as the process is being explained, it's also how it's communicating to your subconscious, and it's unleashing it and working on you. So that's why these videos are very effective. And let's talk about human awareness training at LAUSD and in education, because I wish that I was aware of and had presented to me the things like the Anthony Robbins and the NLP training materials, because what it does, it allows the individual, it allows the student to better communicate with themselves, so they learn better, so they absorb better at the unconscious level, because we all have it within us. And if anyone can be a good student in the environment, in the classroom, if anyone can be an A student, well, then every student can be the A student if the other students did what that A student did. Okay, so that is a strategy. So, for example, NLP, Richard Bandler, he has learned that good students, see, the way you extract these strategies is you study what successful people do, and you study what the failures do, and then you compare and contrast. So, for example, the students that do better in spelling make a picture of the word. They visualize it, they make a picture of the word, and it's a big picture, and it's a lot easier to memorize something if you have a big visual picture of the word in front of you than rather if you try to sound it out phonetically. like Uncle Zuma Dog, Little Zuma Dog did, and so many bad spellers. Womp 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 womp. Research of NLP has showed that bad spellers do not visualize or picture the word they're trying to spell. They try to sound it out phonetically, and Richard Bandler will remind you that you can't even spell out the word phonetically. So these are some of the tips. Also, through the words you use, NLP is very important if you're working with kids, if you're working with employees, co-workers, family members, kids, or people you're in a relationship with. In other words, all human beings. It's important to strategically use the words you choose. People do not pay attention to that, and then they end up arguing over things when they're really on the same side of the issue. And so you need to focus on the words you're using, especially with kids, because you can have devastating effects and just strip their soul away, strip their spirit, remove their will, and I think that is what happens. So you need to really state things in the positive. And what I've learned through the NLP Tony Robbins training that I'm now combining into what I call human awareness training, a summary of all the material that includes Dr. Deming, behavioral psychology, marketing, quality management, neuro-linguistic programming, metaphysics, the whole kit and caboodle of the Barnes & Noble self-help department. Well, the thing is to word things positively. If you want somebody, let's say Billy is going up to take a swing at the plate in Little League. Well, you as dad, you want him to be successful. Now, you're going to say something, of course, because you can't shut up. So you're going to say one of two things. Either, damn it, Billy, don't strike out this time, or, hey, Billy, go out there and knock the crap off that the ball. Okay, yeah, I don't play baseball, so that's my analogy. So again, you're either going to say, damn it, Billy, don't strike out this time, or, hey, Billy, go out there, get a hit, and knock the leather off the ball. Okay, now they both try to achieve the same result. You want your kid to be successful and make a hit and get on base. However, the words you use are both strategically oppositely crafted. So in other words, if you say to Billy, hey, don't strike out, well, that will immediately put the fear into him. His body will get nervous. He'll start to think about the last time he struck out, and he's going to think about how bad he'll feel next time he strikes out, and his body will, strike out because his mind will again trigger the body to do the same response of loser striking out. But if you say, hey, Billy, go out there and get a hit and swing hard and knock the crap off the ball, well, his mind will say, well, yes, what is that like? And it's a congruent, unconscious, subconscious thing that allows his body to do that, because he'll then visualize that and he won't be thinking about it. He'll be unconscious and he won't be fearful. He'll be in a peak state, and so you'll see magically that he will get the hit. And Andre Agassi used this strategy, for example, if you watch the video that I have posted on the humanawareness.training.com blog, of Anthony Robbins talking about when he was called by Andre Agassi. Now, we all know Andre Agassi. He used to be the #1 top-rated ranked tennis star, and then he had hard times. He fell and was fell really low rankings of ranked at all, didn't know what to do. He was dating Brooke Shields at the time before they were married, and Brooke Shields was a big fan of Anthony Robbins. So she said, hey, Andre, you got to call Tony. And he's like, I don't need motivation, y'all. And she's like, oh, it's not motivation, it's strategy. So what Tony did, how he was able to get Andre Agassi to get back in a peak state, was he showed films to Andre of himself, A, when he was winning, when he was at his best, when he was in his peak state, when he was winning tournaments, and he would look and see the things he would do physically that were different than the current videos he was showing when he was losing, and the things he was doing with his body and his state that you could easily see, and the things he was saying. Then you ask Andre, well, gee, when you watch this video of you winning and kicking ass, what was going through your mind then? And Andre's like, oh, I couldn't believe how good I was. It was like, why did you even show up? And it's like, okay, Andre, now when you look at yourself in this video, when you're not quite as energetic and you're taking to the court, what are you saying to yourself here when you're losing? It's like, oh, I remember last time that guy beat me. oh no, I hope I don't lose again, all that stuff. So clearly these are the things you need to pay attention to, and it can be very easy, and right now you can make the decision for your subconscious mind to take over and nourish your soul and trigger your body into action to use your time in the most effective way through things like the way you spend your time. Start to monitor, become aware. When you turn on the TV, start to notice if this is something that affects you in any way. Start to notice if it's going to empower your mind to trigger your body to take the right action. And one thing I can say, people admire the fact that I was able to get a large top-of-mind awareness in this city without any media budget. A lot of people know me, in other words, in the city from my public access show and through going to the council meetings. And the one thing that I will say is I always had a sense of urgency. And for a guy that had nothing but time, for a guy that didn't have a responsibility in the world, for a guy that didn't have a job or anywhere to be, the one thing I always had is a sense of urgency that every day is an opportunity, and you need to plant seeds every day, because when you look at successful people, and when I looked at people that I admired, whoever that was and whoever that is and whoever you admire and look up to and wish that you could achieve the types of results no matter what that is, the one thing I noticed, the people spent their time every day with a sense of urgency doing something toward that goal every day, even if it was one step, and they weren't watching Wheel of Fortune. They didn't know a thing about Access Hollywood. And when I'd ask them about the current rap song, they didn't even know what the hell I was talking about. They were too busy using their time to empower themselves and to be successful and to achieve their goals. So that's the one thing I always had. Every day I'd wake up on the streets, on the sidewalk, with nowhere to be, and I'd say, wow, I cannot miss this day. I must be at City Hall. I must go on the TV 35 to alert the people of what's going on, because I was thinking about it anyway. I was going to bed cranky, listening to Kevin James at night, waking up cranky, listening to Doug McIntyre on the radio, looking at the news headlines, having emails, people call me, so I was thinking about it anyway. So that's what triggered my body to go down to City Hall and say I cannot miss a day of this, and that's how it ends up to be over a year of every city council meeting. Not by saying, wow, I'm going to do this for a year, by saying, oh my gosh, this is definitely my last day. One day at a time, baby. So these are some of the things that I hope you've enjoyed this, although I hate to use the word inspiring, because who wants to be inspired? What I am doing here is showing you and having you listen to the type of content that if you were to go to some of these programs that you see on TV that you don't want to purchase because you feel that you're going to be suckered, or that you don't want to take the time to go to these seminars, or you're not sure what it's about, well, I'm trying to not teach you the process, but I'm trying to be a practitioner of it. I'm trying to practice the material, and that's what this is, an exercise for me to sit here and speak in the NLP language, in the Tony Robbins language, to try to speak in the types of language patterns that nourish your soul, uplift your spirit, and trigger your mind to be focused to unleash your highest levels of awareness and personal achievement through the mind, which triggers your body. And that could be whether you need to wake up tomorrow and figure out a way to create more wealth for yourself. Well, you'll do that through using your time better spent through some of the things you're doing now, and using that time to do something else toward the goal, whatever that is. And you already know what that is. It's just a matter of you getting to do what you know, and that's how you do that, by listening to the material I'm presenting to you. And again, I can guarantee you that all the answers you need and all the creative spirit you need will flow through you, because you have it within you, and if you've ever had it within you, it's always within you, and so it's always accessible. So that's what I'm here to do, and I guarantee it will start to happen to you immediately through listening to this. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing is everybody wants to improve their body and physical performance, because that's how you have the energy to get through the day. And whether you need to lose weight because you're unhealthy with overweight, or whether you're already in great shape and you want to become even more fit and have even higher levels of results, well, one thing I can suggest right away is, because nobody wants to diet and not eat enough or eat things that they don't enjoy, you want to make sure that you feel full and you want to feel satisfied. That's the main thing. And you also want to make sure you get the nutrition, because if you're suffering from crankiness or sluggishness, and even people with addictions, It all comes down to a chemical imbalance, which is due mostly to nutrition, I can assure you. And so through a lot of things, you can say, well, just let me get pizza. It's got cheese, protein. Or you can say, well, let me get a tuna sandwich or a hamburger. That's got bad food combinations of bread mixed with the protein. It doesn't digest properly. You don't get the proper nutrition. So I'm here to say, if you start your day or any time you feel hungry, I would always start by finding out about the Labrada product. It is Lean Body Breakfast. It's a packet. You mix it with water. It tastes so great. It tastes like an oatmeal shake, basically. It's very satisfying. It is something that you will enjoy taking because it tastes so good, and I can guarantee that it will provide you the proper nutrition to sustain you through the day. It's provided me with fantastic results, and another part of why I'm excited to present this material to you through this blog is because in the past 45 days since I've been banned from City Council, I've already spoken that I was in a very bad pattern of activism, going to the City Council meetings relentlessly to the point where it was interfering with my life, to the point where I did end up being on the streets homeless over it. Now I'm in an apartment, which is very nice, and it did end up hurting me physically to the point where I wasn't able to move and get around and do the things in the day I needed to do because of my physical body. I didn't have the energy. So through this material, it did focus my mind and trigger my body in the day to take the actions, which was getting out there and moving my body and exercising. And although I haven't had to go to the gym or curl one weight or push one barbell bench press, I through outdoor natural activity in a way that you use your body every day in the way you need to, I was able to totally transform my body in a way that I never was able to in the gym, no matter what I tried, no matter what types of diet. So I'm here to say nutrition's key. That's the starting point I told you about. And so through this, if I can do it, you can do it. And it's through this type of material that has already been presented. And you say, gee, Zuma Dogg, you didn't say a damn thing. When's the show gonna start? Well, you just wake up tomorrow, baby, and wait till you see what happens and the way you feel, and you're gonna start to notice things happening to you and things you're gonna be doing, and you're not gonna really understand why, and it's gonna be so effortless, and that's because I've conditioned it strategically at the subconscious level, not through anything I've created, but by simply speaking the material that has been uncovered, the secrets of the universe. And if you merely take a transcript of this and read it back to a room of anybody, you can produce the same results. It's not about the person, it's about the message. And thank you so much for listening. And please tune back in tomorrow morning, because I'm on such a creative roll, as you can see. The only reason I don't present more material is because I know it takes time for everybody to be able to listen to the videos in the audience. So tomorrow morning, come back to humanawareness.training.com for more human awareness training mastery course for action. Thank you, Los Angeles.